Olá, marombeiros refinados. Eu estou aqui com o mestre Neil Yoda Rio, que vai responder algumas perguntinhas aqui pra gente. Thank you for this interview. How many athletes in this Olympia?
6 athletes in the
Six
Olympia.
athletes.
Yes.
Who are they?
So I have John Pei, one of my professional men's physique athletes. He just won the Tokyo Pro from Japan. Ryan Clark, he's a pro show winner. Ryan actually lives here in Vegas now. Brandon Hendrickson, obviously a 3 times past men's physique Mr. Olympia. So those athletes I've just mentioned, they're actually men's physique athletes. I have 2 athletes in the classic division, Mike Summerfield, and also Alex Cambarero.
Oh, sure.
So Alex is actually a 2-time Master Olympia champion, just won the Masters, very convincingly, but I say that in a very respectful way. So, Alex competed in the Masters Olympia, but he also competed in the Tokyo Pro 2 days later. He won the Masters, he also won the Tokyo Pro, and then, so those 2 athletes in the Classic, and then I have Sung, the Mass, who's competing in the 212 division.
What's your top 5 for open bodybuilding?
I think the top 5 is going to be very, very interesting because I generally do believe that there are 3 athletes. And when I say on paper, I'm talking about shapes, I'm sort of structures, I'm talking about everything. So
3 athletes who could win.
So I guess, now I'm not saying for 1 minute that there couldn't be a 4th athlete, okay? I'm not saying that there can't be a 4th athlete, but on paper, the 3 athletes is going to be Samson, Hadi, and then obviously Derek. But that doesn't mean for 1 minute that Nick cannot come into that top 3, and it doesn't mean that Nick can't possibly win the show. But if I look at all of the variables, and I'm looking at bodybuilding or the physiques as a whole, I'm looking at shape, I'm looking at symmetry, I'm looking at conditioning, I'm looking at muscle bellies, I'm looking at refinement, I'm looking at the overall flow of what I feel bodybuilding is, and especially as a Mr. Olympia champion, then there is some, there's some reasonable conversation to say that Nick is going to have weaknesses in some of those areas that I've just spoken about, but there's no doubt he's probably going to be the biggest guy on stage when it comes to sheer muscle mass, pound for pound. And at the end of the day, it's a bodybuilding show, and you have to be respectful and understand that some athletes have strengths in some areas, some athletes have weaknesses in areas, and the whole idea is to actually have no weaknesses and be very complete. There's a number of athletes that I would like to see win for a number of reasons, and I'm not trying to skip or avoid this conversation or this message, because in my eyes and in my mind, I love bodybuilding. I absolutely fucking love bodybuilding, and I also feel that the sport has grown and evolved in the majority of ways very positively, but I also feel that social media has been a very, very negative tool at times, but it's also been a positive tool because it's grown the industry. But it magnifies a lot of negativity at the same time as well, and a lot of that negativity shouldn't even be out there. It just, a lot of forums, a lot of social media panels, they create clickbait, a phrase, a word. Most of the time they take things out of context, and it's fucked up, to be honest with you. It really is. It's a sad world we live in. But let's just focus on what we're here for, which is the 2025 Mr. Olympia. It's the 61st anniversary. I would like to see Samson be a 2-time Mr. Olympia, not because I'm British, because I think that he actually represents the IFBB Pro League in every way that a Mr. Olympia should be. Name me one Olympian champion over the last 5 years which has done as many shows as him, traveled to so many different countries, given back to all the audience and the fans, like a real true ambassador. And nobody can argue at all that guy deserved the Olympia title last year. He's everything that Mr. Olympia. So I would love for him to be a 2-time Mr. Olympia, a 3-time, a 4-time, and that's who I would like to see win, okay? Then I also feel that Hadi is an amazing representative for the industry as well, right?
Mention that. As a top coach, do you think Hadi can have an advantage to having Honey Rainbow exclusively for him now?
I would say that there's bound to be an advantage for both of them because there's no distraction. When you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 athletes on stage, you can only give so much of your time to each one at a time, right? So what I'm finding at the moment, my time is being very diluted because I'm trying to give my time away evenly to all athletes. So there's no doubts that obviously Hani and Hadi are going to have a very strong bond, and there's obviously going to be a lot of time and attention which goes into that, athlete and coach mentality relationship, especially in the latter days and hours going into the show. And I would like to see him win as well, because I just, what he represents for bodybuilding, I think is amazing. It's so sad that, yeah, he's consistent. He's never, he's never off. Yes, maybe he's a little bit better on some shows, but the guy is always on. And I would like to see him win that title. I really would. I would be very, very happy if he won that title again. And then there's Derek. I think that, Derek, what he brought to Columbus, Ohio, was impeccable. So let me just say massive congratulations to Chris, because obviously Chris took him on. They did that first show together, and let's be honest, they brought in a package which was just incredible. I'm sure that they're looking to surpass that look here in Columbus. Whether that's possible or whether it's not, we don't know. But every athlete, even the ones I've not spoken about yet, they're all looking to bring their best to this stage. And I would like to see Derek win, and it sounds like I'm not being transparent.
I'm a really fan of bodybuilding in general.
Because they're all different. They're all different with their shapes, all different with their structures. And then, let's talk about Nick. I don't feel that Nick's shape and structure is what I call the ideal shape.
Sure.
But let's be honest, what is the ideal? I mean, because at the end of the day, it's
the mass, the condition.
He has, he's going to have the mass. He's going to have that hardness. He's going to have like that nastiness. He's going to have so much momentum and confidence. There's argument to say that he probably could have or should have won the show in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Tyler Mannion said that.
Yeah, look, listen, I don't think anyone could argue. I think that it would be wrong for me to say. It would be wrong for me to say that he should have won, because they obviously placed Derek. I think for the industry and the sport and for hype and drama, he should have won that show. I would have think that would have been a very fair decision, and not because of hype and not for drama, not for conversation. But again, remember, it's subjective. The Olympia is going to be taking place. The amateurs are already on stage today. Professional athletes are going to step on stage, obviously, on Friday and Saturday. And there's going to be conversation where somebody say, this athlete should have placed here, this athlete should have placed there. But I've obviously spoken about the 4 athletes that I believe is going to be in that top 4. I want to also say a big shout out to Martin, and also
incredible. I saw him yesterday.
And Tony, because Tony, I think Burgess is going into the show with a lot of momentum. Obviously, got to get a very significant pro win recently. Did really well in Dubai. I saw maybe a recent update picture of him maybe a week ago. I can't remember. He's looking crazy. So even Martin and Tony could be battling in that top 4 as well. We'll wait and see. Whether they've got enough size, I don't know. But let me also say this. I know I said that bodybuilding is about muscle, but it's also about shape and symmetry. It's not about who's going to be the biggest. To me, it's about completeness. And then, with Martin and Tony, they're very, very complete. So I think it's going to be a dog fight.
The first guy who tells me about Tony.
Yeah, and listen, I think he's got a great physique. I've seen him on stage before, but the last time I saw him on stage, it appears to be that he was a shadow of where he is now. And because I thought he brought a great presentation to when I saw him on stage last time, it looks like he's put some serious muscle on his physique, but in a positive way. It's not had a negative impact on his shape and structure. If anything, it's created a more dramatic illusion.
Oh, just one more question. How does the new measuring could affect your athletes on classic physique?
Well, that's a great question. So, this, when I say this is a sensitive conversation or subject, or it is and it isn't. So let me just explain something to you, okay? Every athlete knows that there's a height and there's a weight category, correct? Is that correct?
Sure.
All right. We could probably say that the majority
of... preparing for that.
Okay, you're preparing for that. Okay. Did I put those words in your mouth? I didn't tell you to say that, right?
No.
You're prepared. How long have they been preparing for that?
A whole year.
A whole year, right?
Yeah.
A whole year. So you just said that those athletes have been preparing it for how long? A year. And what are they preparing for? Height and weight.
Yeah.
Correct?
Height and weight.
How many athletes today, or last week, or last month, or 3 months ago were over the weight limit? How many of those athletes?
A lot of them.
How many? 90%?
I think
100%?
everybody.
50%?
Yeah.
Okay. What are their focus? Their focus is to make
And
weight,
that's measured.
make weight over weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks.
And now maybe
Is
can
that
change
correct?
everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you would have asked an athlete to step on a scale a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, would they be the height, the
No.
weight? No. Okay. So what did we do? We spent about 2.5 to 3 months measuring and stretching out, measuring and stretching out, measuring and stretching out, measuring
weight.
to make the height and the weight category. Yes?
Yeah.
All right, we spent months and months, not just with weight, but with height. We stepped on scales and we stepped on the measuring stick last year's Olympia. Did we have any control over that?
No.
Are you sure? Did we have any control over that? Were we measuring?
No.
No. That measuring stick comes down. Where did it go?
Yeah.
On the top of the athlete's head, correct? Did we ask for that?
No.
No, but that's what it was, yes?
Yeah.
Did anybody have anyone have anything under their feet?
No, I don't
Did-
think so.
Did anyone have anything on top of their hair?
I don't think so.
So my point is that we were told at last year's Olympia that once you are heighted, that's your fixed height.
That's okay.
So we did
Never
nothing.
changing
So we
anything.
never did anything all year or since the last show to prep for this. So are we going to make height and weight? We'll have to wait and see. Now, do I really have an issue? No, I don't have an issue because listen, I feel it's important that there's transparency, but you can't go and change the rules, and you can't go around changing things which was said very clearly 12 months ago. Now it sounds like I'm on the offensive. If I'm on the offensive, I'm passionate because we spent 6 months prepping for the show, 6 months to make weight.
And a
Not
week
6,
before they
and
changed
then
the rules.
and the thing is, why did they change the rules? They changed the rules because of all the negativity on social media. Why is social media negativity listened to? Because it gets views and it gets hype and it gets negative criticism.
Yeah.
So I'm disappointed, but let's focus on what we can do in that time frame. If we're able to hit the height and the weight category, then great. But I'm telling you now on camera, when we stepped on stage, and when we stepped on that weigh-in scales last year and the height measurements, and when I say scales, height, that would be different. When we stepped on stage at the official height and weigh-in, we were exactly where we needed to be. We had nothing under our feet. We had nothing on top of our hair. We got no way of manipulating anything. All right, nothing. But what we did have is we had weeks and weeks and months and months and months to prepare. And now the Pro League have decided to change what they set out and what they said 12 months ago. Now I know why they've done that, because they're obviously trying to be thoughtful, to not have criticism, which is something I have a huge amount of respect for. So I don't have a problem with that. But what we've been done, now we've indirectly been penalized, and other athletes potentially may be penalized.
Maybe.
And at the end of the day, we never made the criterias, we never made the statement. They made it, but listen, they made it in a positive, professional way.
Sure.
They didn't say it in a negative way. They've done nothing wrong. But at the end of the day, once you set a criteria and you make a statement or something, then that to me is what it's supposed to be. How can you justify changing something last minute?
A week before.
A week before, seriously. You'd imagine, for instance, that you had athletes, they hit the height, they hit the weight criteria, and then they say, okay, from now on, we're not going to be heighting you, we're not going to be weighting you. And then they decide 6 days before, oh, now we're actually going to weight you, and we're also going to height you, even though we told you 12 months ago that's not going to take place anymore. How many athletes will be over the weight?
Maybe a lot.
Maybe a lot. Maybe a lot. So, I think it's
they will be forbidden to compete, maybe?
Yes, yeah. So again, listen, I'm not criticizing the IFBB Pro League, because I've had conversation with them, all right? And it was a very positive conversation, all right? But we've got 5 or 6 days to prep for this, because I don't think that announcement was made until Sunday, I think. Okay, not one single time was I told by anybody that they're going to be reheightened and be waiting by anyone. It was on social media. Everybody saw it, right? And I should imagine the athletes. But it's not even my argument. My conversation in a positive way is the rules have been changed last minute. And it's only taken place because of social media. Because if this is the way that we're moving forward in the industry, I don't say this
Who
because
set the rules? Social media or the IFBB?
Exactly, yeah. So who's making the rules here? So, and that's for everything in life. So if you really want to get caught up in this, well, let's go back to see all the drama over the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years where there's been negative conversation, right? And let's bring up all of that. Let's, from today onwards, every time we see a negative comment, let's make sure that we micromanage every single thing. All right? I've heard, doesn't matter who I've heard it from, I've heard there's been athletes who have not made height and weight, not the height weight. Have I ever complained? Not one single time, because I tell you why, we focus on what we need to do.
Yeah.
I focus on what we are doing. We don't make the rules up.
Yeah.
But to change everything last minute, I think that is very, very, very wrong. But I also stand by and respect the IFBB Pro League because they're trying to make sure that there's transparency. And there always has been transparency.
Yeah.
Last year, there was complete transparency.
Everybody knew the rules.
Did you see one single athlete after weigh-ins last year? Let me ask you this. Did you hear of any athlete after weigh-ins complain about somebody making height or weight? I didn't hear one athlete.
No.
Not one athlete. Where's all this coming from? It comes from the fans.
Yeah.
Why does it come from the fans? Because fans only care about their athlete winning. So any drama they're going to bring to it. I did not hear one single athlete at last year's weigh-ins complain about this guy was too heavy, this guy was too light, this guy's too short, this guy's too tall. Not one, because I think the athletes, they respect each other enough to know that they're on level playing fields on that day there, and they were all okay stepping on stage with somebody. I did not see one athlete criticize Mike height or his weight or his look. Did you? Not one single. Not one single. If anything, the athletes were very praising his physique. So why are we listening to all this negativity on social media? Because really the people which are being affected is the athletes. So if the athletes who are competing against each other are okay with how everything's been heighted and weighted, why we listen to the social media negative? So that's my argument, and I'm hoping that this goes out very transparently, because
sure
for me, I feel that we have really, really, really been put into a situation that we shouldn't even be dealing with. We shouldn't be in this situation. We were not the people measuring. We were not the people that, and again, I'm not criticizing the IFBB Pro League. They do a fucking amazing job. How many times do you hear somebody complain about the IFBB Pro League or NPC? No, I'm on about, we always hear people criticize the IFBB Pro League, the NPC. They're doing an amazing job, but the people which criticize are negative people in life. It's not people which have the best intentions. So let's wait and see. Whether Mike competes on the stage, we'll have to wait and see. We're doing everything that we're doing, all the therapy that we can between now and tomorrow. But this is a process which we should have been dealing with months and months ago, or weeks ago. Because how long has conversation been on social media? This guy's too tall, this guy's too short, this guy's months ago. So why are we dealing with this now? So that's all I can say on it.
You said a lot. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.